Navi's. Mineski's turn to ban. Navi's turn to ban. Mineski's turn to ban. Navi's turn to ban. Mineski's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Navi's turn to pick.
Shadow Demon.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Navi's turn to pick.
Warlock.
Mineski's turn to pick.
Earth Spirit.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Mineski's turn to ban.
Ogre Magi!
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Navi's turn to ban. Mineski's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Raging Potato, maybe an Invoker.
The interesting ban from Navi is the Lifestealer. I thought that they could have kind of thought about the Lifestealer for himself. It is a little concerning with the Shadow Demon's ult, but they have a good vehicle in the Earth Spirit, and I think it lanes well against the Ogre, so it's kind of surprising that they're banning their own Lifestealer.
I guess they must have something else in mind, at least as far as the carry goes, if they're going to be banning it out. As we will see also the Void and Dazzle removed from Mineski. Get ourselves into the
10
next pick stage. I feel like
seconds
this man
remaining.
here on your screen, Nico Baby, as a carry, giving him a good start, giving him a good
5
lane has been really
seconds
key for
remaining.
Mineski. Because he, to me, is very
Navi's
similar
turn to
to Hector from
Mineski's
Infamous, where it's like he
turn
wants
to
to farm, hit like whether it's a Midas
Beastmaster.
Radiance hero or something else. His item timings are really important.
He's really good at those, but he's also really good at the Jug type of hero. In the qualifiers, he played a lot of Jug. He would kind of sit in the lane, farm. Once he gets his items, he would rotate a lot with his team. And they would play really fast around him. They would get a bunch of towers. They would take a lot of team fights. So he kind of plays multiple styles with the team. And his team as well will
10
focus on him or Moon.
remaining.
So they're a little versatile. Some teams will prefer to go
5
for the carry or
seconds
for their
remaining.
mid. But this is one of the teams I think that can kind of flex their priority hero.
Yeah, with Navi's Beastmaster pickup, the team fight even looks more stronger. They have 2 BKB
Navi's
peers,
turn
so
to
much
pick.
AoE.
Wraith King.
And there it is, the Wraith King from Mineski. It's one of Nico's favorite carry heroes.
Something Navi must have expected because it is one of
Mineski's turn
Mineski's
to
most picked heroes so far. I think they had like a pretty high 75-80% win rate on it over like 5 games maybe. And Navi instantly picks Sven.
Yeah, I think they did their homeworks. Maybe they were kind of baiting the pick. But Sven shreds Wraith King.
Yep.
Wraith King low armor. The cleave can deal with skeletons in the early game if they ever pressure the Sun's tower. Gives your team armor, so the Wraith King can't really burst you. It works well with the Beastmaster as well.
10
One of the things Sven
seconds
lacks
remaining.
is high damage but low attack speed.
Okay.
So the Beastmaster is going to kind of buff him up in the early
5
game.
seconds remaining.
So what Mineski team, what Mineski needs right now, it's on wave push / team fight.
From the mid. What about a Death Prophet here for Mineski?
Yeah, it's a very high chance, high likely pick. But,
They even have the save for the Shadow Demon.
yeah, but I'm kind of worried about their wave push because Ogre as position 3 doesn't push out waves there, and so does DP.
He can buy a Midas. Get a triple quad multicast.
Navi's turn to ban.
Oh, Enigma. That's a
Team
KP
fight
Enigma
hero.
for sure. That's a KP Enigma.
You think BO1 KP's playing out the Enigma?
Yeah, like I said before, he wants, like in these BO1s, you want to go out with your best hero if you're going out. So I think rather than being the correct pick, they're looking at like their most confident hero. But I'm not so sure if this was the pick because there's a lot of Enigma
10
counters.
seconds.
Yeah, they have 2 heroes that deal with
Exactly.
Black Hole, BKB Black Hole. That
Warlock, Beastmaster
5
War.
seconds
There's a
remaining.
lot of stuff. And like, I don't know.
But the way we may see it played is going to be more momentum based, where you get the fast either Helm, Mech, Greaves, get those simplified items and
definitely.
push with your team.
Yeah. So
Play
how-
around your catapults.
So how to play against the Warlock with Enigma is you just go team fight enters. You don't itemize to use Black Hole ever because this Warlock's just gonna AFK in the backlines. Then you want to be somewhat useful in the front line by providing team fight items.
Yep.
I could see Mineski doing an aggro tri-lane against this Sven. You put the Enigma versus the Beastmaster, and you can convert his boar off cooldown. Kind of gives this really nice lane for you. If you have a sentry, you kill a Hawk. And then the Sven, I think, will suffer. The
Mineski's
Warlock one sees
turn to
sustained lanes
ban.
where you just Shadow Word your carry, the lane gets slowed down, you both heal up, you free tangos, so basically. But in an aggro tri-lane, you're going to 100-0 someone with those heroes. Fire Blast, Wraith King Stun, Disruption.
Yep.
I think it's a little scary for Navi right now.
I played with Mushi time to time, and he prioritizes wave pushing a lot. So I'll be kind of surprised if we're not seeing like
10
Lina,
seconds
TA,
remaining.
like these kind of wave pushers.
One hero Moon plays, Tinker.
5
Is there any
seconds
chance we see a
remaining.
Tinker? That's the king of wave push. It's hard against Beastmaster Hulk. That's already got vision for you, but
Mineski's
Yeah,
turn to
Navi does
pick.
have a lot of good ways to catch the Tinker, but yeah, we can definitely see some Tinker.
Especially with the Brood Mother ban.
Navi's turn to pick.
Oh,
Lina.
Lina.
Okay. It's a little more stable. It can lane against most mids in the meta. Deals with Sven. You can kite him before BKB. Even after BKB, Lina is very fast.
Is TA banned?
No.
and that's a magical hero.
A magical hero, yeah.
It matches well up against most of the heroes, but Enigma's a little scary for it. I think it's a safer pick though.
Yeah, Warlock's got the
seconds
Enigma
remaining.
covered, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He just has to, win the Lina's lane
5
and be a
seconds
boss.
remaining.
I think it's pretty good against SD Ogre too, like those 2 squishy. Well, Ogre's not that squishy, but I think it's kind of linear on tankiness, so it's gonna hit a limit, especially on position 4, if it is being played as a position 4.
As much as it feels like maybe they should ban TA, you see they ban Brood, and you're like, well, yeah, you don't want to get 10 pick Brood in a BO1 elimination match, so it makes sense. You pick the lesser of the 2 evils. evils maybe, assuming they even pick TA.
Well, Mag seems like very confident right now, the Navi's coach. So
Oh, this is another
You may
Navi
now
special
select your
sniper.
heroes.
it is pretty good against Lina too. I mean, Gunnar, you can talk about it. You're the mid player.
The Lina sniper matchup is kind of even the mid game or the mid lane. Once it gets to the mid game, the sniper outranges the Lina, which is the one of the few heroes in the game that can actually outrange a Lina. So you have this kind of out exterior fighter range where she'll try to stun range you, but you know, her Laguna and her Aether Lens, these kind of things, they're not even far enough to hit the sniper with Dragon Lance and max attack range or take aim.
From what it feels like, Navi seems to have the better draft. How Mineski has to play this is with better vision, I think. They have to fight not with the Hawk and just fight under their ward. So Enigma can find the Warlock and they just basically have to watch where the Warlock is.
The vision game is so important. That's something where this Beastmaster Hulk needs to be dealt with and controlled.
Yes.
You can't just let him have full vision of the entire
5
map. Otherwise,
seconds
Navi will
remaining.
pick and choose their fights and take control of the map very easily.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of easier for them as they have a Wraith King. The Wraith King can run in and start a fight. And when they maybe clump around his ult, when he reincarnates, they get a 2-3 man black hole. Even if it gets interrupted, it kind of buys the whole team enough time to get in. They get the BKB popped on the Wraith King maybe. They get this Radiance burn. They're doing a little damage, you know.
Yeah. It's gonna be a battle of like drawing each other's positions out. The Lina Sniper and Enigma Warlock, these key heroes, they wanna like bait each other out.
Okay. Have your thoughts? I mean, you said you maybe ever so slightly favor Mineski. Does the draft maybe lean you a bit back towards Navi now?
Yeah, I think I'm slightly towards on Navi's side. I kind of don't agree on the Enigma pick. He's going to have a hard time in the game. They have to find the Warlock first before engaging. And I think it's going to be pretty hard because Sniper is going to be pushing out everything with the superior range advantage.
You have shrapnel on side lanes and mid. You can just shrapnel the lane out. You don't even have to show your hero. I think it also, their team fight's really strong with the Fatal Bonds and then the Magnetize and even the Sven.
Yeah.
A cleave with the Fatal Bonds and 2-3 heroes, 4 heroes, 5, you know, everyone's dead.
Yeah, but Mineski do have their comfort pick, so it's going to be a pretty exciting game.
I mean, comfort picks the name of the game in these BO1s sometimes. Very clear. Navi recognize that. They go for it a lot. They also added that extra amount of team fight with the Warlock. So really, big team fights is going to be the name of the game. That's what we should be looking out for.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the game will be exciting around 20-30 minutes. This Enigma BKB, they're going to try to bait out spells. And it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, we don't see any chance there'll be a big explosion there in the game. We're going to go over to Casey on the stage. He's got Mag with him.
I'll help my weak That and was puny skill, all allies right. where I can. You were beneath me.
That's right, it's time for our final match of the night. We're going late into the night, and there's still a decent amount of audience here, and they've been cheering very loudly for both these teams, Mineski versus Navi. Let's head into the game as we are going to be seeing the bounties unfold quite soon. And as we heard from Mag, I mean, I feel like both teams definitely just picked their signature heroes. I mean, they picked Enigma
30
into
seconds to
Warlock
battle.
and Earth Spirit and Beastmaster, but at the end of the day, it's still a KP classic.
Yeah. I mean, what do you really expect him to say in that position, though? Like, oh, man, we got completely outdrafted. I should probably not do my job. We lost in 12
I did a
minutes.
bad job. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even look at what Mineski's been picking. Hey, there's an interesting man on the screen right there. Nico Baby just completely bypassed attending DPC events and went
The
straight to
battle
TI.
begins.
That's the Deanna.
Yep.
You just kind of show up, slow roll your way to TI.
Rebounding runes for Navi. Things already off to a great start for the CIS team.
And Navi, during the player intros earlier during the opening ceremony, you can still tell this organization carries weight.
Yeah. And I think they probably won over some fans, given their like kind of steady and consistent performance throughout the year, where they've just kind of built up over and over. You heard in the interview that Seneko felt like this is a team that he finally really built from the ground up and really believed in, and would love to be able to take the Aegis with the crew like this, especially with Crystallized now taking more of a leadership role. He said he felt like he wasn't really playing with peers so much as people that he respected and looked up to.
This mid lane matchup, Lina versus Sniper. Moon, of course, long heralded as one of the superstars of Southeast Asia, just wasn't really able to show it that much this year, as Mineski did not do so hot. And on the flip side of things, you have Magical, who I think is a very snowbally player. This guy needs a good laning phase, needs to continue from that as First Blood.
Raging Potato pulls it up out
Dire's
on
top
Blizzy.
tower is under attack.
As they're just going for the full defensive tri-lane, and KP's just going to be playing this off-lane solo. Enigma pulling the lane back for himself. Seems like they really want to secure this classic Nico Baby Wraith King, a strong start to the game.
I think Wraith King is going to be... I don't know. I think this is a really hard Wraith King. Like, if you look at the other heroes, I feel like this Sven just kind of eats him up, and the sniper can just outrange him and sort of play from afar. He's got multiple ways to distance himself if he goes for Dragonlance, Hurricane Pike. Once he gets the BKB, the stun becomes relatively ineffective. And this is going to be a really hard game for Mineski to feel comfortable going late game in. And that's kind of wild to say, considering you have an Enigma in your squad.
Yeah. And perhaps like Wraith King is like a really good hero to be able to push down towers, so maybe that's why Mineski's taking this approach. They think if they get Nico Baby ahead at the start and he gets this fast Animitis, a faster Radiance, he's going to hit that really big mid-game swing where he could just mow down towers and they won't have to worry about the late.
I think you can't play this Enigma like a neutral late game hero. I sort of feel like you have to go for a more mid-game oriented play. Play around the fact that your Wraith King will hit like this 2-item timing and just sort of go for it. Because I feel like the game, the longer it goes on, you're just asking to lose, because Seneko will hit a rock on you. It's so much harder for Mineski to execute their lineup once it gets to like the 35-minute mark.
That's exactly why Febby and Gunnar did disagree with the pick so heavily, but we'll see what team fight build KP is able to pull out.
I mean, there's something to be said for comfort picks too, which is what people seem to be favoring so far. Like you saw, Hector was like, no matter what, I'm going to play Wraith King. And, you know, fair play. It's what he's good at. It's what he's comfortable with. You're in a best of one situation. You want your team to not stress. And the best way for your team not to stress, pick them what they know how to play. Who cares about the situation?
Nice roll in. If they can get the kick onto him as well. Moon's going to go for the early TP away, but it barely gets him out in time.
Still, it's going to hurt his lane a lot.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Has to TP all the way back. This is going to give Magical at least a full minute of space.
Well, don't worry. Old Ninja Boogie is going to trundle along as the Ogre Magi and collect what little of the gold and experience he can while the Lina is away. But this is a matchup that Gunnar said was supposed to be relatively even, but eventually the sniper does prove to be
Dire's
superior just because of his range.
This Blizzy, he just continues to get forced out of his lane. I mean, the best part about Mineski's offlane, Enigma can just always idle on the range creep, and it'll eventually pull back to him. Plus, you're just denying a lot of XP for the enemy carry. Whereas, like, up at top lane, Nico Baby should have a relatively free time, considering it's a Beastmaster who's level 3. He's largely been jungling.
Magical. Playing the right-hand side because he knows about this rotation thanks to Blizzy's board that was set up on the high ground.
You know what the crazy part is? The Lina's actually ahead in CS, despite being forced out of so many of those waves.
Yeah.
Doing just fine for himself. In fact, they're identical, tied.
Is that just the nuking advantage that Alina has?
Yeah, I think it's just easier because you can always get harass going while simultaneously farming the range creep. But it's impossible to deny Lina range creep unless you really mess up.
Enigma doesn't have much way to contest the bounty runes, and this Beastmaster's pretty locked in, so both teams just splitting the bounties and all their supports with a heavy eye towards that mid lane. You see Zayat, who had that 71% win rate of the 7 matches that he played during the group stage. Here on the main stage, he's looking to play what he's most comfortable with, and has already had 1 successful rotation on the Lina, looking for another, but that's where Ninja Boogie comes in. It's just kind of babysitting Moon, making sure that if somebody does try and roll in, he will be there to respond.
So far, so good for Mineski as they continue to hold their kill lead.
Dire's structures are
Blizzy's game continues to be really rough as KP has no problems with just jungling. And if you look at his item build cap, he's deciding to go for the Vlads. This was, I believe, the correct decision.
Yeah.
Play for the mid game. That's what we wanted to see out of Mineski.
Radiant's top
for them to win this
tower is
game.
under attack.
So we do feel like, I
Radiant
don't want to speak for you,
structures
but I
are
think they're a
fortified.
little bit outdrafted.
Yeah.
It never feels good having to go for these sorts of items or plays because you know the onus is on you to end. And I feel like playing late game is almost always easier
Dire's bottom tower
in a
is
best of
under
one
attack.
situation.
Especially at TI where the pressure is so high. If you're Mineski, you know that, especially like in Nico Baby's position or something like that, like if you throw one team fight, the game just kind of could be over because Na'Vi are just naturally going to outscale you with this Fen and Sniper duo. Even the Beastmaster being able to push you nice and late game. Both teams. Oh, nice roll-in from Zayats. Will be able to kick him back into the shrapnel here. Moon trying to get away. Another third round of the shrapnel, and the assassination not actually going to go out. That's because the Ogre's just running at the sniper right now. Thinks about it again, but the bottle hit will allow Moon to stay alive, and it's Zayats who dies instead.
Yeah, luckily for Magical, it wasn't the Lina that got the last hit on that, and in fact, this is going to prompt Moon to go back towards the shrine area. It's going to continue to give Magical a little bit of a free lane, but this is just helping him catch up, not even get ahead. Bottom lane.
They are going to be able to catch KP. They say this Enigma has been farming a bit too long, as he's been spending about half his time in the lane, the other half inside of the
Dire's bottom
jungle.
tower is under attack.
While the smoke up came in from Mineski. They smoked up about the same time that Lina went for the shrine, and Raging Potato's just running for it. But you have that ward from Magical that's going to be able to see a bit farther to that left-hand side during this nighttime.
Dire's bottom tower
And
is
he
under attack.
quickly gets out of the way of that gank. On the upside, though, Nico Baby is still top CS. And so all that defensive tri-lane space has warranted a very farm carry that's really trying to pressure this tower. And if they can actually kill Blizzy, it would be fantastic for them. But Blizzy just positioned a little bit too passive for Nico Baby to be able to threaten him past that Ray Fire Blast. And instead, it's all about the early objective.
Nico Baby has had pretty much nobody in his lane half the time.
They're going to try again here, but the TP coming out quickly giving it up as Seneko shows up to give Blizzy a helping hand.
KP just about to complete the Vlads. Wonder if somebody rotates in for him so they could finally start to pressure the tower in this bottom lane area.
I think that's why Red King is trying so hard to take this off-lane tower, right? Is that he feels like, once I do this and I build up the skeletons again, I'm going to go bottom lane. We're going to take that tower down. We're going to start pressuring the tier 2. Let's take these objectives early. But look at the stack that's going on right now. Raging Potato, 5 stacks of poison, does get a last hit on all of the weaker creeps there, but leaves the rest at half health for the Beastmaster to potentially clean up. He's still going to try and get it with more Shadow Poisons, just going to expend his entire mana pool if possible. And that's going to be a decent amount of farm for him. He's now level 5.
And Zayats, he's going to go mid, soak up the rest of the XP, try to catch up in levels. Raging Potato, like you said, doing just fine for himself. He's going to farm this jungle area with Moon. He'll get his level 6 no problem, but Zayats